Do you want to talk me through how you came into PropTech, how you discovered product was the role for you, your experience so far in the industry?
So it started, I guess, way back when I studied architecture in college. I'd always had an interest in the built environment, and so knew when I was applying to colleges I was going to study architecture. Um, Towards the end of college, as I start to apply for jobs, I had a really good framework in design thinking, and school was very like theoretical, and so I wanted to get a more practical sense of how things were constructed. And so I ended up going to work for a big national construction management company rather than a design firm called Whiting Turner. Um, so I spent 2 years there. I was in the field 100% of the time. So they have sort of a unique model where the office and the field personnel are all on a construction site and not in like an office. So got some really good like boots on the ground experience there. Decided I wanted to be like 1 degree away from managing the trades. And so I moved over to JLL, where I worked as an owner's rep for about 6 years on a financial services account, both in New York City and Charlotte, North Carolina, doing everything from corporate office space to retail bank sites. And towards the end of my time there, I knew I was interested in making a career pivot, and I started to do a lot of exploration of what I thought that might look like. And I started to narrow it down to tech, thought about different avenues of how I could like support that pivot, including like a full-time MBA was on the table. But ultimately, I think just through a series of like coincidental things, I decided I would try to like work at a tech company and pivot internally into product, which is what I wanted to ultimately do. And Northspyre actually found me. I started there as a real estate transformation consultant, which is effectively equivalent to a customer success manager. They hire folks into that role who have experience in real estate and project management so that they can kind of speak the language with customers. And when I started, it was like less than 30 US employees. And so like in that role, you wore a lot of hats, including implementation, account management, customer support, and success. So I really was able to become like a bit of a product expert rather quickly, and like also a bit of a solutions engineer. And so expressed my desire to pivot into product to leadership. And fortunately, that was supported. And about a year in, I moved over to product and have been working in product management for the last 3 years.
In terms of starting out in architecture then and finding your way on that front, did you find that was a male-dominated environment as well? So you've always kind of been used to being in an environment where women aren't as heavily represented as they should be?
Yeah, so I think I was definitely primed for that early in my career working on a construction site.
Yeah.
I was, if not like most days, I was probably the only woman on the site. Maybe certain phases of the construction cycle, there'd be some females in the field as well. But yeah, definitely got like hit in the face with that early on in my career. So I think since then, it's felt more and more like an even split. However, I will say like once you get to the leadership level in tech, that starts to break down a bit and it starts to heavily skew male. And that's something that, of course, is becoming increasingly obvious as I progress in my career.
In terms of what you think we can do as a woman in PropTech, what can we do to bridge that gender pay gap? What can we do to get more females in PropTech and kind of driving that force and asking for higher pay, having the confidence to ask for that promotion and say, hey, I'm worth exactly the same, if not more than my male counterpart doing the same role?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys put out a lot of great content around, market compensation rates, and that's so key. It's like staying up to date on what market compensation rates are and really knowing your worth. But there's also a really great article by a former Airbnb employee. I don't know if you know it, but it is a male, of course, but some good insights that can be gleaned from it. And he really kind of reframes looking for a job from something where like, a job as a finite resource and like to be so relieved when you get a job offer to looking at it instead as like you're selling your labor. And so you need to be making a really informed decision about which buyer to sell to. I think that's a really good like reframe that if males probably maybe inherently think about it that way a little bit more naturally than women do. And if women can start to like reframe their mindset when it comes to like selling their labor, then maybe we can start to shift.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it's on the narrative of like the most important currency you have is your time, right? You can waste my money, you can waste this, but don't waste my time. So that's actually a really good way to reframe thinking about it. But yeah, thank you for your time, Hayley. It's been great to speak to you. You're obviously a next generation leader in 𝐏𝐫𝐶 for a reason. So we're going to be keeping an eye on everything that you achieve in the rest of your career. And I appreciate you making time to speak with us today.